Here's your story with micro changes. Same start, same ending, same emotional tone, same length, same key events and structure. I've made subtle tweaks, slightly different phrasing, small word swaps, minor sentence rearrangements, freshened up descriptions, and tiny shifts in flow for a refreshed feel while keeping everything else identical. The knock came at 11:47 p.m., 3 sharp raps that cut through the quiet of Mark's house like sudden gunfire. He froze, coffee mug suspended near his mouth. The screenplay he'd been tweaking sat forgotten on his laptop. No one came by this late. No one came by at all these days. If that prickle of tension is creeping up your spine right now, good. That's exactly what I intended. Smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next story that'll keep you glued until the final word. Believe me, what's coming will floor you. Mark lowered the mug slowly, straining to listen. The house sighed and settled in the chilly autumn darkness. Upstairs, his 5-year-old daughter Emma slept soundly after another evening spent asking when Mommy would come back. He checked his phone. Nothing. No texts, no missed calls. 2 months since the divorce papers were signed, and Diane hadn't once reached out about their little girl. The knocking returned, sharper, more urgent. He approached the door and looked through the peephole. The porch light revealed a familiar face, but not the one he braced for. Not Diane, her younger sister, Claire. Her eyes were swollen and red, her usual neat hair a mess. She hugged her arms tight against the October cold, shifting her weight nervously. Mark paused, fingers resting on the deadbolt. Claire was the only one from Diane's side who hadn't blamed him outright for the marriage imploding. Even so, he hadn't spoken to her since the split. What could possibly bring her here at this hour? He unlatched the door. "Claire, what's wrong? Is Diane all right?" Her face collapsed. "Can I please come in, Mark? I wouldn't show up like this if it wasn't serious." He stepped back, watching her cross the threshold into the house she once knew as her sister's home. Claire's gaze swept the room, the missing pictures, the rearranged couch, the quiet signs of someone slowly rebuilding alone. "Sorry for the late hour," she murmured, voice thin. "I didn't know where else to turn." Mark nodded toward the kitchen. "Coffee or something stronger?" "Coffee's fine. Is Emma asleep?" Finally, he busied himself with the pot, thankful for the distraction. She still cries for Diane now and then. Claire winced, trailing after him. "That's actually why I'm here, Mark. It's about Diane." His fingers stilled on the handle. "What about her?" "She's gone. Vanished 3 days ago. No one knows where. She cleared her accounts, quit her job, and disappeared." Claire's voice cracked. "She's not picking up calls or replying to messages. Mom and Dad are losing their minds." Mark took it in, a strange emptiness spreading inside. The woman who'd vowed forever, who'd given him Emma, who'd walked away from both of them seeking a clean slate, had now erased herself completely. "I'm sorry, Claire. That's rough for your family. But I'm not sure why you're telling me. Diane made it crystal clear she was done with this life." Claire's gaze locked onto his, and something in her expression sent his stomach plunging. "She left a letter, addressed to Emma." Mark's pulse skipped. "A letter?" Claire nodded, hands shaking as she drew a sealed envelope from her bag. Emma's name was written across it in Diane's familiar cursive. She mailed it to our parents with instructions to hand it over on Emma's 18th birthday. Claire's tone sharpened. "I opened it, Mark. I had to know what she was thinking." He accepted the envelope, feeling its quiet heaviness, the future pain it carried for his daughter. "What does it say?" Tears brimmed in Claire's eyes. "She's never coming back. She writes that she was never cut out to be a mother, that she's building a new life where nobody knows her past. She says," Claire faltered, "she hopes Emma forgives her one day for not being strong enough to stay." The words struck like punches. Not strong enough, as though walking away from your own child was a question of courage instead of decision. "Why show me now?" he asked. "Why not wait until she's 18, the way Diane planned?" Claire's jaw tightened. "Because it's cruel to let that letter sit like a hidden grenade. Emma deserves better. And because I think she needs family, Diane's family, people who won't vanish." Mark stared, not fully grasping. "What are you saying?"
"I want to be part of Emma's life, truly part of it, not just the aunt who mails a card once a year. I want her to know that even if her mom couldn't stay, other people will. People who love her." Silence swelled between them, heavy with the offer Claire was laying down. Not only herself, but a lifeline to the family Emma had lost. I don't know, Claire. She's already been through enough. That's exactly why she needs more people around her, not fewer. Claire leaned in. I'm not Diane, Mark. I don't run when it gets tough. Those words lingered, a vow wrapped in a quiet dare. That late-night visit altered everything for Mark and Emma. What started as an unexpected knock grew into something neither had seen coming. Claire wove herself into their routine. She collected Emma from kindergarten on Mark's crunch deadlines, dropped off meals when he was drained, and gently reconnected Emma with her maternal grandparents, who'd been too shattered by Diane's exit to know how to approach them. The early months were rocky. Emma felt confused, sometimes resentful. If Auntie Claire can visit, why can't Mommy? She'd ask, brow furrowed as she wrestled with grown-up pain no child should carry. Mark wrestled too. Claire's presence constantly echoed Diane, the shared laugh, the identical gestures. He'd catch himself watching her, glimpsing traces of the woman who'd left. But winter gave way to spring, and the raw grief slowly dulled. Emma began anticipating Auntie Claire days instead of pining for her mother. Mark started laughing again, genuine laughter, especially on nights when Claire lingered for dinner and the three of them constructed epic blanket forts in the living room. One such evening, with Emma finally dozing amid cushions and sheets, Claire turned to Mark in the soft glow of their fort. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "I've been offered a job in Seattle. It's the kind of opportunity I've chased for years." A cold knot formed in Mark's chest. "When would you go?" "That's the point. I've been turning it over for weeks, and I'm going to decline." "What? Claire, no, you can't give that up." "There are other jobs, Mark. There's only one Emma." She held his gaze. "Only one you." The air crackled with unspoken meaning. "Claire." "I'm not Diane," she said steadily. "I'm not saying this to pressure you. I'm saying it because it's real. I love Emma, and I care about you, too. More than makes sense under the circumstances." Mark studied her, really studied her, perhaps for the first time, not as Diane's sister, not only as Emma's aunt, but as Claire, steady, loyal, the woman who'd quietly pieced their fractured world back together. "I don't know what to say." Claire gave a small, wistful smile. "You don't have to say anything yet. I just needed you to understand why I'm staying." That conversation became another pivot. They didn't rush. The stakes were too high, the history too tangled. Instead, they kept building their unusual little family, day by careful day. Summer arrived, bringing Emma's 6th birthday. Claire teamed up with Mark to throw a modest backyard celebration. Princess Castle cake, a treasure hunt, the works. Emma glowed, surrounded by school friends and both sets of grandparents who'd tentatively started mending ties with Mark. Watching Emma tear into gifts, seeing Claire chat comfortably with his parents, feeling warm June sunlight, Mark understood their life wasn't shattered anymore. Changed, absolutely. Surprising, without question, but whole. Later, after everyone left and Emma played with new toys, Claire joined Mark in the kitchen amid the party cleanup. "Penny for your thoughts?" He smiled. "I was thinking about the night you knocked on my door, how scared I was that you were delivering more bad news." "I kind of was," she admitted. "And no," he said, setting aside the trash bag, "you brought news about Diane, but you brought yourself too, and that turned out to be exactly what Emma and I needed." Claire's gaze softened. "Mark, we've been careful. We've gone slow, for Emma, for our past, for everything. But I need you to know something." He stepped closer. "I'm falling in love with you, Claire, not because you're her sister or because you're wonderful with Emma, because you're you." Her breath hitched. "Are you sure? This isn't just thankfulness." "I'm sure," he took her hand. "I've spent months really seeing you. The woman who brings soup when Emma's sick, despite her own deadlines. The one who knows how I like my coffee and which movies get to me. The one who's never once made me feel like a failure because my marriage fell apart. Tears shimmered in Claire's eyes. I've been fighting so hard not to fall for you. How's that going?
Awfully. She laughed, that sound he'd grown to cherish. I've been in love with you since Easter, she confessed. When you wore that ridiculous Easter bunny costume, even though you're allergic to the fur. Mark drew her in, foreheads touching. So what now? We keep going the way we have, day by day, honest with each other and with Emma. She smiled. And maybe I kiss you now, if that's all right. It was more than all right. It was the start of something neither had sought, but both had needed. They explained it to Emma together, gently. Auntie Claire and Daddy cared for each other in a special way. She pondered it with 6-year-old gravity before asking the question they feared. Does that mean Auntie Claire will be my new mommy? Claire knelt to her level. No, sweetheart, you already have a mommy, even if she's not here right now. I'll always be your Auntie Claire who loves you to the moon and back. It just means I'll be around even more, if that's okay with you. Emma considered, then nodded. That's okay. You make Daddy smile again. Out of the mouths of babes. The months ahead had rough patches, murmurs in their small town, judgmental glances from people who found the match unseemly, tense talks with Claire's parents, who feared Emma's bond with them would suffer if things soured, late-night doubts for Mark, wondering if he was risking more pain for himself and Emma, if he was somehow disrespecting Diane despite it all. Claire stayed constant. We can't shape our lives around other people's opinions, she told him during one hard stretch. And we can't let fear of tomorrow steal today's happiness. A year after that midnight knock, Mark stood in the same living room where he'd first welcomed Claire inside, watching her help Emma with schoolwork. The scene felt so ordinary, so right, it stole his breath. Later, after Emma slept, he took Claire's hand and led her to the backyard. Crisp autumn air, bright stars. I have something to ask you. She waited, eyes catching the porch light. This past year has been the most surprising journey I've ever taken. When Diane left, I thought that was the end for me, that Emma and I would simply have to be enough. I never dreamed the biggest love story of my life would start with my ex-wife's sister appearing on my doorstep in the middle of the night. Claire laughed quietly. It does sound like the tagline for a cheesy romance, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's messy and real and beautiful. He drew a steadying breath. I'm not asking you to replace Emma's mother. She already has one, even if Diane couldn't stay. I'm asking if you'll be my wife, if you'll keep building this unexpected family with us, one step at a time. Tears welled in Claire's eyes. Are you really sure? I've never been more certain of anything. Then yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you, Mark. Not because you or Emma need someone, but because I love you both so much it scares me sometimes. They married the next spring in a simple backyard ceremony, the same yard where Emma had her birthday party, where Mark had proposed. Emma walked as flower girl, proudly tossing rose petals along the aisle. At the reception, as evening settled, Mark watched Claire dance with Emma, both of them spinning and giggling. His new wife glanced over and smiled, a smile rich with promise, understanding, and love. 2 years earlier, Mark believed his life had ended when Diane left. He could never have predicted her departure would open space for something different, yet just as precious. That sometimes what feels like a painful close is really a disguised beginning. As he stepped onto their makeshift dance floor to join Claire and Emma, Mark understood that the most beautiful stories aren't the ones we script. Sometimes they arrive unannounced, rapping on the door in the dead of night, waiting to be welcomed. And if we find the courage to open that door, what stands on the other side isn't always more sorrow, but a second chance at joy. One that looks nothing like our old plans, yet fits perfectly anyway.